Good thing it's not bikini season, because October is going to be a veritable food fest. Call it a Southwest Florida version of Oktoberfest. Instead of brats and beer, we're subbing wine and gourmet tastings. First stop this week, grab an apron and belly up to the snack bar. It's a cooking class put on by some of this area's top chefs.
We sprinkle a little more cheese on top so it kind of crisps in there. This is a pecorino romano. And that's going to go in the oven for about 20 minutes at about 400 degrees.
Then the wine is flowing as social season starts to sizzle. An expert preps us with tips to sip and sample like a pro.
Another thing you can do when you're at one of your favorite restaurants, don't be shy. Ask the bartender, can I have a little taste of that by the glass?
Plus, the children's menu goes gourmet. Forget boxed mac and cheese, chicken fingers, and French fries. Restaurants are now catering to kid customers. We'll have those stories along with the latest in our Positively Healthy Medical series. I'm Amy Osher, and this is Behind the Headlines. I'm Amy Osher. Thanks for joining us. Chef-inspired restaurants are super hot these days, and now foodies have the chance to make the dishes they love at home, thanks to local chefs spilling the beans. Chef Seth Berman is accustomed to cooking for a crowd.
Today we're going to be talking about the artichoke. The artichoke originated somewhere in Sicily or Carthage, Italy.
28 years ago, he opened his first noodles Italian cafe and sushi bar.
It wasn't just strictly an Italian restaurant. It was about love of food, the passion of food, East meets West, all the food in the whole world. God gave us a lot of flavors to enjoy and to cook with, and it's kind of how we ended up with Italian and sushi.
His love of creative cuisine extends to a passion for promoting similar chef-inspired kitchens.
And that's the whole idea behind the foodie camp, is to bring recognition to the Dine Local movement.
The food scene in Naples is picking up steam, especially among younger diners with a taste for change.
You have a bunch of chain restaurants in Naples, and I think that's the old culture. The new culture is chef-driven, chef-owned restaurants.
Now made-from-scratch menu items are going on display.
Half a fresh chopped parsley.
For 10 days in October, some of this area's top chefs are sharing their secrets in a series of foodie camps, serving up their best-loved recipes and showing diners how they're made. Do you get the sense, when you're doing this, that people are there to learn how to cook your dish, or really there to watch you cook it and then eat it?
That's a great question. I think the cooking aspect of it. I think to see the cooking aspect of it and how to cook the dish.
The high point of Chef Berman's class is walking students through his grandmother's Italian stuffed artichoke. It's a classy occasion. 12 restaurants are participating in its 4th year. Chef Berman hopes his tapas menu will whet people's appetite.
You know, eating small is kind of the trend lately, not eating so much. And I personally enjoy having 3 or 4 small items for a meal instead of one giant meal.
Foodie Camp is always a sellout, with proceeds benefiting the culinary program at FGCU. It's rewarding for the restaurants as well, a way to interact with a new crop of customers.
It's more personable, it's more intimate. The chef is then more focused on to the client,
who will hopefully come back for more.
They can cook a lot of my food at home, but it's a lot easier to come here and enjoy it with me. A little fresh rosemary on there, a little basil. Voila, bon appetito.
By the glass or by the bottle, a good wine can make any experience truly memorable, but it requires good taste. With many of this area's biggest events built on tastings, we sought an expert for a crash course.
Southwest Florida is a great wine area, and I think having things like so many different auctions that have gotten national and international attention has kind of upped the IQ, so to speak.
Wine correspondent Gina Birch knows what she speaks of. She pours her passion in wine into words. writing columns for the Fort Myers News Press following the grapevine.
There are a lot more local boutique wine shops now than there were, say, 6-7 years ago. So that gives us more opportunity to learn, go in and hang out for an afternoon and taste some wine.
Store tastings are a great entry point. Sampling also works.
Another thing you can do when you're at one of your favorite restaurants, don't be shy. Ask the bartender, can I have a little taste of that by the glass?
Gina advises newbies to look for balance, a taste that doesn't overwhelm.
It's nice, smooth, and you've got a little bit of acid, you've got fruit, you've got a little tannins, you just got a little bit of structure in there that just makes your mouth feel happy.
There are rules when it comes to enjoying wine, but they aren't black and white.
And people still love to say, you know, whites with fish and fowl and reds with meats and that, but it all depends on the sauce when you really get down to it. It's what is in that sauce, because if you have a fish that's got tomatoes and really a heavy salty sauce, then you know, a red wine might be good with it, a softer red wine, not a big tannic Cabernet.
Gina's also big on changing wines throughout the meal.
Oh, Tamber Bay, this is a really lovely wine.
Accenting different courses.
I'm a big advocate of having something lighter like a rosé or some bubbles at the beginning, and with a salty cheese board, and then when you have a heavier course, a meatier course, something you need a little more substantial red to stand up to it, and then at the end, yeah, have a nice dessert wine. I think they're underrated.
If you want to wine and dine with the in crowd, you have to master this. Can you kind of show us the basics of how you would do a proper tasting?
Sure. So you would have your wines lined up, and typically you would start lightest as far as the body is concerned, all the way up to the more heavy wines.
Now dive into the swirl.
You pour a little bit, and one of the things you always look at the color.
The sniff.
You just put your nose in the glass. You can't be embarrassed about it.
And slurp.
You just get the air, kind of aerated in your mouth, and it explodes the flavor.
With a few basics in hand,
you don't do this. I mean, you get your fingerprints on it and you change the temperature of the wine.
You're ready to uncork, unwind, and enjoy the finer parts of wine.
It sometimes just breaks barriers. I don't know what it is about it, about the creation of the wine. It opens communication, it brings people together, and it's fun.
The kids' selections are pretty bare at most restaurants. The choice is usually between chicken nuggets, fish sticks, grilled cheese, and things like that. Kid-friendly, sure, but they aren't exactly expanding the palate, until now. Thinking outside the box is the starting point for a fresher kids menu. Naples Daily News food writer Shelby Reynolds explores some of the alternate options available in Southwest Florida. She finds more and more restaurants are expanding their children's selections to offer more diverse food at an earlier age. Sometimes it's healthier, higher quality versions of menu items kids love, but other times it's new flavors like fish tacos or stir fry. You can find out more along with some of the tasty locations by logging on to naplesnews.com. Still ahead, some fancy footwork. Wedding couples are breaking out some moves for their big day. That story is around the corner.
Life here is amazing, and so is the joint care. At the Total Joint Center at Physicians Regional Healthcare System, we've changed the experience of joint replacement for good. With our comprehensive joint care program, most hip and knee replacement patients return home in just 2 days, because we know you want to get on with your active life. Pain-free living starts at Physicians Regional Medical Center, Collier Boulevard, and Physicians Regional Medical Center, Pine Ridge.
My name is Steve Unser, and cabinetry is my specialty. I have been creating custom-designed cabinetry for 20 years in Southwest Florida, and now I am celebrating the grand opening of our new Naples showroom. Steve Unser Cabinetry will help you design your kitchen, bath, or home office with stunning results, offering the best quality of cabinets with a wide variety of design options and pricing to fit any budget. If your kitchen isn't becoming to you, you should be coming to us. Now, 2 locations to serve you.
Is your auto insurance keeping pace with your life? Ask for a AAA triple check insurance review to see if your current policy is still a good fit. An agent will assess changes in your life, like new vehicles or drivers. Make sure you've got the right coverage and all the discounts you deserve. They'll also see how a AAA membership can round out your protection on the road. Plus, provide roadside assistance, discounts, free services, and vacation extras. Ask for your AAA Triple Check today.
Hip problems are on the rise, and so are hip replacements. At the same time, doctors find themselves treating younger, more active patients who would like to find a simpler way to ease their pain. Here's the latest in this week's Positively Healthy. Given the option, most patients would like to avoid a total joint replacement. Now, when it comes to the hip, some of them may be able to sidestep a major operation.
What we do typically is find patients who are on their way to developing hip arthritis. And that usually occurs as a result of either a torn cartilage in the hip or a slightly misshapen ball or socket that leads to abnormal contact between the bones. What happens then is those patients go on to develop hip arthritis relatively rapidly, and they're more likely to need a hip replacement before the age of 55.
On average, they're younger patients who typically present with groin pain that gets worse with activity and better with rest.
That pain will continue to increase until it's present nearly constantly.
If caught at the right time, doctors may be able to ease their suffering through the use of hip arthroscopy.
Hip arthroscopy is essentially placing a camera inside the hip joint, and it allows you to treat conditions.
Using a small camera and surgical tools inserted through small fingernail-sized poke holes, doctors go in and repair the damage.
And we'll change the shape of either the ball or the socket to prevent the bones from hitting each other. We also have something that's equivalent to drywall anchors. It goes in the bone, it expands, and it has sutures in it and allows me to repair the torn cartilage.
One or all of these can be performed in a single, relatively brief procedure. While it's still fairly new, the hipper option comes with a lot of optimism.
We're starting to see these outcomes now, and we're starting to have the long-term data. And from what we see, this is very effective in reducing the need for hip replacement in appropriate patients.
How about some fancy footwork? The traditional first dance between a bride and groom is getting a modern makeover in the sense that they're now becoming choreographed numbers. I've seen a few recently, maybe you have too. The trend caught the attention of Harriet Heithouse. Every facet of weddings are photo-worthy these days, and so it goes for that first dance. Couples are now including dance lessons in their pre-planning. Some studios are following their lead, offering choreography services for anywhere between $200 and $800. Many times the lessons are done in secret to surprise wedding guests with their fancy footwork. Harriet took the steps to solicit tips for brides and grooms who might want to give it a spin with or without lessons. You can check out her reporting at naplesnews.com. That leads us to our newsroom and a look at news on the beat.
Thanks, Amy. Hi, I'm Shelby Reynolds. I'm the food reporter at the Naples Daily News. This week I interviewed Scott Conant, a celebrity chef who will headline the Paradise Coast Food and Wine Experience this October in downtown Naples. Conant is most recognized as a regular judge on Food Network's Chopped and for his restaurants located across the country. Conant will lead a Q&A with fans and a cooking demonstration during the October 27th event. Read my interview with Conant about his upcoming Naples appearance in Wednesday's Naples Daily News or online at naplesnews.com.
Hi everyone, I'm Ashley Collins, features reporter here at the Naples Daily News. This past week I got a chance to do a Halloween story. I talked to a Naples mom who does her own DIY Halloween costumes for herself and her family. She's been doing this for the past 2 years, and she actually just goes to local arts and crafts stores and puts costumes together. The first time she did a costume was actually the Tinkerbell fairy costume for her daughter, and she did one for herself too, an adult version. And this year she's taking on Ghostbusters. To see more on the story, visit naplesnews.com.
I'm Harriet Heithouse, arts and entertainment writer for the Naples Daily News and naplesnews.com. I love glass art. The only thing better is glass art outdoors. Lampwork glass blower Hans Godot Frebel has installed a huge exhibit in the Naples Botanical Garden, and it opened this week. We take a visit this Sunday in the Naples Daily News and naplesnews.com.
Hi, my name is Brittany Carloni, and I'm a reporter at the Banner and the Naples Daily News. This week, I wrote about a new ordinance being considered in the village of Estero. The Village Council is taking steps to protect residents from credit card skimmers. They are devices installed on gas pumps by thieves who tried to steal your credit card information. Read more about the ordinance in Saturday's edition of the Banner and online at naplesnews.com.
Finally, a man of many moves. Here's Brent Batten and his weekly commentary. Brent.
Thanks, Amy. On Wednesday, I got a text from President Trump. That made me feel special. I mean, everybody gets his tweets, unfortunately, but how many people get a text, I thought. As it turns out, about 225 million people. The text was a test of a new system similar to the emergency broadcast system. Remember those tests? You'd be watching your favorite after-school program when it would be interrupted by a blaring noise and a test pattern. If this had been an actual emergency, you would have been instructed, and so on. If it had been an emergency, you just preempted my show, so I don't know if the Lone Ranger and Tonto were able to corral those bad guys. I call that an emergency. My text from the President was just a notice of a test of what is now called the Emergency Wireless Alert System. No wild claims, no hyperbole. How unpresidential. Can you imagine a group text message between you, the President, and 225 million other people? He'd text something. He'd start getting replies. They'd be coming from numbers you don't recognize. You feel awkward asking who's on the line with you. You want to get out of the conversation, but you can't remember how to disable the group text function. With all the commotion, you'd be distracted from your show and not see whether the Lone Ranger and Tonto were able to corral those bad guys. The more things change, the more they stay the same. I'm Brent Batten. Be sure to read my columns on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays in the Naples Daily News. Check me out on Facebook, and as always, thanks for watching.
When we come back, students are getting a taste of good health, courtesy of a mobile food lab, delivering life lessons. That's ahead on Behind the Headlines.
The area's only 30 minutes or less ER service pledge means you'll find less waiting for the care you need. And because we're full-service hospitals, a lot more care if you need it. Less waiting, faster care. Only at Physicians Regional Healthcare System.
Jean LeBouf has been an anonymous food critic in Lee County for nearly 40 years. And now JLB is expanding into Collier County.
Look for a new review every week. You'll never know where I'll turn up.
Hiring the right moving company is important. Best Moving and Storage is a family-owned and operated business serving Southwest Florida for over 22 years. From our free in-home estimate until the last piece of furniture is in your new place or stored in our climate-controlled warehouse, we treat you like family. Best Moving and Storage is fully licensed and insured, with all of our employees being certified drivers and packers. When it comes to protecting your treasured belongings, choose a company that's experienced and trustworthy. Call Best Moving and Storage today at 239-592-6565.
Coming to a school near you, a health and nutrition lab on wheels.
And the Healthy Living Lab is a nutrition education program run through Food and Nutrition Services of Lee County Schools. And we go to different schools every week and teach the importance of nutrition education. So the main thing we really like to focus on is the importance of fruits and vegetables. We really like to get those kids to remember to fill at least half of their plate with fruits and vegetables. And we also like to kind of focus on those healthier options in each of the other food groups, you know, different types of healthy protein and healthy dairy as well. We are seeing higher and higher rates of all sorts of different chronic diseases in America. We're seeing obesity start at a younger and younger age. We're seeing type 2 diabetes start very young. We've had elementary age students tell us they have type 2 diabetes, they have high blood pressure. So these are issues that are very much related to diet and exercise and lifestyle factors. So we're out here teaching the kids the importance to start at that young age, start making those healthy choices, make sure you're getting that exercise, and creating a healthy lifestyle. The Fit Lab is a 24-foot trailer that we bring with us to each school. The doors open up, we've got 2 TVs on the inside, giant speakers, and we have a Wii that we set up. And we get the kids playing and exercising using technology. We like to show them that we can use technology to exercise, and we really focus on different styles of exercise. So we like to get the kids dancing. We have a dance party out there, dance competitions, and it's so much fun. This program, it's growing, it's doing so awesome. We are getting almost all of the elementary schools now. There are still so many other schools that we'd like to get to. It is so important to make sure that we're getting that nutrition education throughout the childhood.
These days, we're living in a coffee culture. Forget your basic black. Trendy coffee drinks are showing up everywhere. The USA Today has the buzz.
Square Inc. and the Specialty Coffee Association released a coffee data report filled with facts we think you've actually never heard before. Their data shows Americans are highly caffeinated all the time. From 2017 to 2018, we drank more than 67 million lattes. Cold brew trumps iced coffee. In 2016, Americans drank 19% more iced coffee than cold brew. Now, cold brew orders are 42% higher than iced coffee orders. But that's not all. State-by-state findings expose some interesting differences. For example, Alaska is home to the highest tipping coffee drinkers. On average, they're leaving a 17.5% tip for their baristas. The least generous coffee tippers are in New Jersey. They leave an average of 7.5% tip. You might think the most expensive latte is in New York or Los Angeles. Nope, it's in North Dakota with an average price of $4.45. Let's face it, there's always going to be a new trend or a new way to take your coffee. But one thing that will remain true, Americans aren't giving up their caffeine fix anytime soon.
Before we sign off today, we've jotted down a few things on our watch list for this month. From really cool concerts to parties with a conscience, and of course, a couple of foodie holidays just to spice it up. Okay, let's get started with this weekend's Somerset Regatta. Sailors from Charlotte Harbor all the way to Marco Island will converge for a 3-day event culminating in the long-distance races taking place offshore running from Fort Myers Beach to Naples. This is the 53rd year, making it the longest-running continuous regatta in Southwest Florida. And mark this on your calendar, a night of storytelling on October 10th at the Cape Coral Yacht Club. Tickets are still available to hear true tales curated by the news press. I'll be one of the storytellers, so this is a must-see. On to food and drink. October 12th is Pumpkin Pie Day, and the 15th is Red Wine Day. Also notable is October 17th, which is Pasta Day. Fast forward to the 20th, and Making Strides Against Breast Cancer is taking place at Miramar Outlets. The 3 or 5 mile walk begins at 9 a.m. Then on to the 23rd, Bob Dylan, you heard that right, the legendary songwriter Bob Dylan is performing at Barbara B. Mann. He was last here in 2016, you can bet that will be a hot ticket. If movies are your thing, how about taking in a film fest? Starting October 25th and running through the 28th is the Naples International Film Festival at Artist Naples. Now in its 10th year, the event will host more than 60 screenings. Finally, you can take a break from the Film Fest and enjoy some tastings at the 2018 Paradise Coast Wine and Food Experience. Tickets are now on sale. That brings us to the end of this week's show. Thank you for watching. You can always catch up on past editions by logging on to naplesnews.com. On the homepage, scroll down to quick links and select behind the headlines. I'm Amy Osher. See you back here next week.
A whole artichoke grows like this, up through the ground. You want to clean off the ends of it, just taking a nice sharp knife and going straight through. All right? So you're coming down. And we're going to take this just the way it is, and we're going to throw it right into the boiling water. It's going to boil and simmer for about 45 minutes, nice and soft. Now we're going to cook the onions and garlic until they're translucent and nice and soft. They start sweetening up a little bit and getting mellow and mild in flavor. So now that we've sauteed our onions and garlic, we're going to mix it in with our breadcrumb mixture. So it's 2 cups of Italian breadcrumbs, about 1.5 ounces of fresh chopped parsley, 2-3 ounces of butter. We're going to put half now, and we're going to put the other half on top. Get about 2 ounces of olive oil, 2 tablespoons of fresh grated Pecorino Romano cheese. We're going to add the cooked onions and garlic to the mixture. All right, we're just going to mix this up really good. Get all the breadcrumbs nice and moist. Break up the clumps of everything that comes together, loosen it up. If you feel it's a little on the dry side, just grab it, feel it with your hands. If you put a little too much breadcrumb or not enough olive oil, you want it to be nice and moist, like wet sand at the beach. We all love the beach, right? More olive oil. Now we're going to add a little fresh chopped basil to it. Okay, see it sticks together. That's the consistency you want of the breadcrumb. I'm going to take our artichoke, trim off the bottom. I cook it with the bottom and all the pieces because it makes a wonderful, delicious water, artichoke water. You could drink that. Artichokes are really great for you. A lot of fiber, clean out the bad cholesterol in your system. We eat a lot of artichokes here at the restaurant. So you take your cooked artichoke, which we've cooked and now cooled down, and the key is to get it open, nice spread like that. Push it down a little bit, opens it up. You're going to take out a little bit of this prickly stuff here in the middle. Not all of it, but a little of that. It's hard and prickly. Open her up. Get all the petals. And you want to be careful not to overcook it or break it apart. And then start filling the breadcrumbs. Now you can make an alternate version of this. You could add chicken to it, shrimp, right in here with some melted mozzarella cheese over the top. But this here is my traditional grandmother's recipe of just a stuffed Italian artichokes. Gramata Benevento. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like. We drizzle a little more butter on there so it gets a little golden brown and delicious. GBD, we love that term. We sprinkle a little more cheese on top so it kind of crisps in there. This is the Pecorino Romano. And that's going to go in the oven for about 20 minutes at about 400 degrees. Nice and hot all the way through and crispy. 350, 400. I'm going to show you the finished product now. Okay, and here's our baked stuffed Italian Mama Giulietta's artichoke heart. Put a little Romano cheese, a little more on top if you like. A little parsley, a little fresh rosemary on there, a little basil. Voila, buon appetito.